A super thanks, one of several, to begin today's Cowboys Report Mailbag from CJ. Didn't the Jets interview like 17 candidates? Obviously filming this on Monday, January 20th, before the Jets have made their final decision. But yeah, they interviewed, I think it was 17. It might have been 18, at least requested ones maybe. They did a real coaching search. The Bears interviewed a ton of candidates and still ended up hiring Ben Johnson. The Cowboys, meanwhile, not doing the same thing. Joseph, how does this sound to you? Aaron Glenn for head coach, OC Lincoln Riley, DC Robert Saleh. I mean, I'm down, but I don't see any scenario in which Lincoln Riley says, I'm going to leave my high-paying college football job, pay a big-time buyout, or have Jerry pay a big-time buyout, to come be the offensive coordinator for an NFL team. There's no chance Lincoln chooses to do that. Now, these are coming in via super thanks. It's like a super chat, except it's on demand. Edit your message, send in whatever. Even if it's Tom, you suck, we will give you some love and feature you on the show. Hit that super thanks button, a little heart with the dollar sign in it icon right now. Richard Robinson, I agree that Kellen's offenses were better than McCarthy's. His play calling is ridiculous. Lining up 21 at center is an example. Comes across as a wonder kid, Garrett 2.0, but is no Ben Johnson. It's a no for me. That's why I like to do a real search. You're right, and this is something I'd point out. Like, Kellen's offense were better than McCarthy's. That is a fact. Let's not try to claim otherwise somehow. And he's been better as an OC than some of the other guys that are available. Schottenheimer, for example. But he does galaxy brain stuff sometimes. I mean, you saw it in the Eagles playoff game. 2nd and 7. Just give the ball to Saquon Barkley. Don't be cute and try to run the bootleg with an injured quarterback. Just give it to Saquon 3 times. They stop you. They stop you. He does give me too many vibes of Jason Garrett 2.0. That's why I want a real search. So I have better options than just giving the job to Kellen Moore. Richard, so let me get this straight. We let DQ go over McCarthy to dump him a year later. Now both our former coordinators, former players are playing for chance to go to the Super Bowl while we watch from the couch. Plus, we have the longest championship drought. This sucks. It does suck. It does. Now, I still question if a Dan Quinn, Brian Schottenheimer led offense were going to be enough for you. But still, they made it further. This is what's not fun for me on Sunday, is an NFC East team is guaranteed to be playing in the Super Bowl. I don't like that. And it's the ones who got away, right? That's also not fun. It's like going to the wedding of your ex-girlfriend, which I've never done, but I would assume it would be like this. Like, that can't be fun for you. And by the way, she dumped you. That's not fun. Who are you cheering for in the NFC Championship game? E for you want the Eagles to win, C for you want the Commanders to win, or A for you want the asteroid to come crashing down, / B for Bane coming in and blowing up the stadium like he did in The Dark Knight Rises. Get those votes in, E, C, or A. Very serious show we have here sometimes. Marcus, you're not getting Deion because there's a good chance his son will go to the Giants. Not going to be okay coaching against and sending Micah Parsons after his son. I think that actually could be a concern. Like, whether it's like a main concern, I think there are other reasons why Deion's probably not going to come here. But I don't know how you feel about coaching against his son. Being like, yeah, Micah, go wreck my son. Like, that's probably not. There is some semblance of conflict of interest there, you know? Daniel Potts, how do you see Saquon in the playoffs and not draft Ashton Jeanty? Thanks. Ask the Giants. Running backs, in many ways, are an accelerant. Like, if you have the fire going, if you have the kindling, if it's lit and it's going, you toss some gasoline on there, boom, great explosion. If you don't have anything set up and you just kind of toss gasoline like the Giants did with no offensive line and Saquon Barkley and bad quarterback play, okay, it just kind of smells. It's just like, this like isn't fun for anybody involved. So if you build the right support structure and then you drop that running back in there, it's really good. It's kind of like whipped cream on ice cream too. Like, no one just wants to eat whipped cream like as like an actual dessert. Like, you need more than that. You add whipped cream, it's delicious. It's a great topping. Or chocolate sauce or whatever topping you like to use. Would you draft Ashton Jeanty? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Ecuador Man AOG, trade down for Walter Nolen and then Savion Williams. That's the TCU wide receiver in the 2nd round. Don't hate it. Getting an impact DT and an impact receiver who's a little bit different than what you have right now. I think Nolen could be a good 3-tech for you. I'm not mad at that at all, actually. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It is the final few weeks of playoff action. Don't miss out on the last of it. With PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching conference games and, of course, the big game coming up in a little bit. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. You can get your money in about as little as 15 minutes if you end up winning. Download the PrizePicks app today over at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5. Those $50, by the way, are indeed guaranteed. So if you ride with me on Jalen Hurts less than yards on the ground, Jaden Daniels more than passing yards, and James Cook more than rushing yards, you ride, win or lose, you get that $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. From Chase, what about Isaiah Bond? Not early. I think Matthew Golden, especially down the stretch here, was far more impressive. Bond brings you speed. His inability to consistently be on the field is a pretty big red flag after that. But, day 2-ish, there's talent there for sure. From Patriot King TV, first, there are no words invented yet to describe how much I hate the Eagles. Go Commanders. Second, I think the Cowboys' year is any different if Dak plays the entire year. I do think you get better results. Now, in the end, the results aren't good enough. That final game, I think you do beat the Commanders. I kind of think you beat the Bengals as well. But you would have been one and done. Like, you would have gotten trounced. You probably would have lost to the Bucs. And you wouldn't have beat the Detroit Lions. So, best case is you kind of do what a lot of us thought they were going to do. Win 9 to 10 games. Maybe make the playoffs. Maybe win one at most. And it wasn't enough in the end. And that's kind of what matters to me more. Vince, how in the world did we lose to the Bears in the battle for Ben Johnson? We had the better roster, culture, quarterback, etc. The Yacht Boys really messed this up. Well, the simplest answer is you never called Ben Johnson. You never tried to talk to him. I think you probably do have a better culture than the Bears because that was a mess, but you're also bringing a new head coach, so I don't really know how much culture matters for your new head coach. Like, he's going to bring in his own culture, right? But like, culture's a funny word sometimes for coaching searches. Like, it kind of becomes like a catch-all for what people like just want to see that they like the guy or don't like the guy. Sometimes, like, what do you mean by culture? There's this great, actually, Deion line that I've always liked. It's kind of like, what is culture? I want to win games. Your culture's good if you win games. Your culture's bad if you don't. Right? You got a far more proven QB. Maybe you have the better roster. But in the end, if you never called the guy, and also your ownership structure is a huge problem. The constant meddling is like, there was the report that Ben Johnson was looking for accountability and admitting of previous mistakes made. That is not Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. It's not what they are at all. Clay the Cowboy, what would it look like for a trade down? It's a good question. Depends on how far you want to move down. Right now you're picking at 12. Let's say you move down to like 15, a give or take. At that point, you're kind of looking at, maybe you get an early 4th round pick if you can get, or at least the value of a 4th round pick. Maybe you want to drop down to 20. At that point, you're looking at, early 3rd round pick, late 2nd round pick, somewhere in that range. You want to drop all the way down to like 25, and now you're looking at like a mid 2nd round pick. And if you wanted to move all the way down to the back end of the 1st round, which is probably too much, now you're looking at like top of the 2nd round, and maybe actually get a little future 1st round pick in there as well. So it depends on how far you want to move down and with what you're targeting too. Zach Crosby, thoughts on a George Pickens trade? Jerry loves characters in the receiver room. Pickens, with pressure to be number one, would definitely get his catches when CD's covered. I'm not sure if Pittsburgh ever trade with Dallas, but it seems like Pickens is definitely gone. I would not be surprised if Pickens gets moved on from in Pittsburgh, because that is a kind of an ugly situation, because Pickens is a problem child. And a Steelers team that has one good receiver in Pickens, potentially trading him should raise red flags. I don't want to scout the helmet, but I do also want to point out that every time a troubled Steelers receiver goes elsewhere, he gets worse and kind of falls apart. And I forget who said it. I forget who made the joke, but it was like, if the Steelers draft you as a receiver, you might have to question if you are an asshole, because that's kind of all they do. I don't want to put Pickens on this team. I feel like he wants to be a one. He's going to get mad and frustrated when he's not getting the ball, and he lets that drastically affect him. Like, he won't block. He'll stop trying on routes. He'll throw a fit. I don't want to deal with that. So name a player who you want to trade for. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Justin, honestly, the Commanders and Eagles both in the conference could be a good thing. Hopefully it'll make Jerry change his ways. Crazy to say, but true. Look, I hope that's true, but do I believe in it? It feels like hopium. I hope that it would change their ways, but like, they don't seem to care a lot. From Landon Shepard, could Dallas be interested in Lynn because you could bring Kliff in as an OC? No. I don't really know if they actually want Anthony as a head coach candidate. I kind of wonder if they look at him as like maybe an offensive coordinator option, which is, I mentioned on yesterday's show, I'd heard that if they had moved on from McCarthy last year, Lynn was going to be a prime OC candidate for them. But also, the Commanders would never let Kliff Kingsbury take a lateral job. That's not going to happen. So if you want Kliff, he needs to be your head coach. It's the only path in which it happens. Don't miss out on any Cowboys news and rumors, updates, mailbags, trades, draft free agency. You name it, we got you covered. Hit that sub button right now. From JJ, how do you feel about losing Bones Fossil? Sucks. He was a good special teams coach. Not perfect. No coach is. Had players who made mistakes. Too many penalties at times. Don't let him get crazy with the fake punts at times. But like, he's good. He was a huge factor in you getting success out of Brandon Aubrey and Kevontae Turpin. Like, if we're gonna, I think, correctly give position coaches credit and blame for players having success, we should probably give Bones credit for Turpin and Aubrey some too. And he even got decent play out of Brett Maher for a little bit. Anger was a Pro Bowl punter. Trent Sig didn't make any mistakes. Like, that sucks. I don't like losing Bones Fossil. And by the way, him taking a downgrade to go to Tennessee, red flags galore as far as I'm concerned. From Brokov, if we're going to go mystery box, why not bet on Josh McCown? I do wonder if he's ready for that role, but I would also have him very high on the list of like offensive coordinator options. Quarterback coach to head coach is a pretty massive jump. I don't know if he's ready for that right now, but like, if you're like, I'm going to hire Robert Saleh, boy, I got a lot of interest in McCown as my OC. Chris Ortega, if the Dak hamstring is as bad as some are saying, any chance we get Sanders to get the Sun with his pick? Will trading parts make this possible? I don't know who's saying the hamstring's bad. He's going to be back in time for offseason workouts and everything. So, not sure what you saw, Chris. I don't know who's saying it's bad. It's a hamstring injury. It tore. It's not good. But like, he's off crutches. It's not like he's going to have 18 more surgeries or something crazy, It's not like this is both knees got blown out or anything. I've mentioned this before. You can trade Micah Parsons and go get Shadur Sanders. Like, the Browns would do that in a heartbeat for you. The Titans probably would too. It's a terrible idea for Dallas, though. Now I'm getting rid of my best player, costing myself assets to make my team better to get a quarterback who I think you're hoping has a career of the caliber of Dak Prescott. It's not something I really want to do. Matthew, I think he means Kellen Moore. I saw the only legit options I've interviewed. I really love Glenn, though. I think Jerry Jones put the shotty news out, so Kellen Moore would seem even better. I could see it. It also just like, why? Again, my main issue here. Why are these my only options? I don't like that.